They say love is about honesty. But what if the one person you trust the most uses your silence as a weapon against you? My name is Elena, and for 3 years I wore two masks. One was for the man I loved. The other belonged to the sea. Let me start from the beginning. I met Damien at a coffee shop near the naval base. He was charming, confident, the kind of man who made you feel like the only person in the room. He was a civilian contractor, worked with logistics, never asked too many questions about my job. I told him I was a naval officer, just a regular one. Paperwork, meetings, sometimes training. He smiled and said, "That's cute. A woman in uniform." I let him believe that. You see, I didn't lie. I just omitted. Because the truth was too heavy for a first date, or a second, or even an engagement. The truth was that I wasn't just any officer. I was a rear admiral lower half. 2 stars on my collar. I had commanded destroyers, led joint operations, and reported directly to the Pentagon. But at home, I wanted to be Elena, the woman who burned toast, who laughed at bad movies, who curled up on the couch and let someone else take charge for once. Damien proposed 6 months ago. I said yes, and I thought, one day, when the time is right, I'll tell him. He'll understand. He'll be proud. I was a fool. The cracks began to show slowly. Damien had a competitive streak. He loved being the successful one in the room. He'd brag about his promotions, his new car, the respect he got at work. And whenever I mentioned something about my day, just small things, like a briefing or a visit from a senior officer, he'd wave his hand. "Honey, you're just a desk officer. Don't pretend it's a big deal." I swallowed my pride. I smiled, because I loved him. But then he got a huge opportunity, a contract that would make him a lot of money and fame in his circle. He decided to throw a victory party at a fancy hotel, and he invited all his colleagues, his bosses, and he said with a smirk, my superiors from the base. He wanted to show them that his fiancé was just a normal officer, while he was the real star. "Wear something pretty, Elena," he said, "and don't talk about work. You'll embarrass me." That night, I put on my dress, and underneath it, I pinned my 2-star Admiral insignia. Just in case, I didn't know I would need it. The party was held in the grand ballroom of the Harbor Grand Hotel. Crystal chandeliers, champagne towers, men in tailored suits. Damien was glowing. He stood near the entrance, shaking hands, laughing loudly, introducing me as my lovely fiancée Elena. "She works at the base too. Nothing fancy, just a regular officer." Each time he said it, something inside me cracked a little more. I smiled. I nodded. I held his hand, but then I saw them. Across the room, a group of officers in dress blues, and at the center of them my boss, Vice Admiral Morrison, a man I had briefed just that morning, a man who saluted me. My heart stopped. Damien spotted them too. His eyes lit up. "Oh, perfect. Those are your senior officers, right? Let me introduce myself. Maybe they'll give me a contract." He grabbed my wrist and pulled me toward them. "Admiral Morrison," Damien called out, extending his hand. "I'm Damien Reed, Elena's fiancé." "Huge honor, sir. I handle logistics for Admiral." Morrison barely glanced at him. His eyes went past Damien, straight to me. And then, in front of 50 people, he straightened his back, brought his hand to his brow, and saluted. "Rear Admiral," he said clearly. "Ma'am, it's good to see you here." The room went silent. Damien's hand froze midair. He turned to me, his smile still plastered on his face, but his eyes confused. "Rear Admiral?" I felt every pair of eyes on me. The waiters stopped pouring champagne. The music faded into background static. "Elena," Damien whispered, his voice tight. "What is he talking about?" I looked at him. The man who had called my job cute, who told me not to embarrass him, who introduced me like a trophy wife. and I finally let the mask fall. "I am Rear Admiral Elena Vasquez," I said, loud enough for the whole room to hear. "I command Task Force 47. I've served 20 years. And I never told you, Damien, because I wanted you to love me, not my rank." His face went pale, then red, then pale again. I saw the humiliation crawl up his neck like fire. You lied to me?" he stammered. "No," I said quietly. "You never asked, and you never listened." That's when he did the thing that broke me. He laughed, a loud, desperate, ugly laugh. And then he grabbed my arm and pulled me toward the hallway, away from the guests. His fingernails dug into my skin. "You think this is funny?" he hissed. "You made me look like an idiot in front of my bosses. I brought you here to support me. And you're an admiral? All this time, you let me treat you like a secretary?" I pulled my arm free. "You treated me like that because that's who you are, Damien. Not because of what I told you." He stepped closer, his voice dropping to a venomous whisper. "If you ever loved me, you'll go back in there and tell them it was a joke. Or I swear, I'll make your life hell." That was the moment I stopped seeing a fiancé. I saw a small, threatened man who would rather destroy me than face his own ego. I straightened my dress, touched the stars hidden under my collar, and walked back into the ballroom. But not to save him. To end him. I walked straight to the podium where the band had been playing. I tapped the microphone. The room fell quiet again. "Good evening, everyone," I said, my voice calm, steady, the voice I used on the bridge of a warship. "I owe you all a small correction. My fiancé, Damien Reed, invited you here to celebrate his success. But he didn't know that the regular officer he's been living with is actually the ranking naval officer in this city." Damien was standing by the bar, frozen, a glass of whiskey shaking in his hand. "I didn't tell him," I continued, "because I wanted to see if he could love me without a title. Tonight, I got my answer." Then I looked directly at his boss, the CEO of the logistics company. "Mr. Hartley, I'm also the approving authority for all military contracts in this region, including yours, Mr." Hartley's eyes went wide. "Effective tomorrow," I said, "I will be personally reviewing every single contract Damien has ever touched. For fraud, for overbilling, for any irregularities. Because a man who humiliates the woman he claims to love will do the same to his clients." The room erupted in whispers. Damien dropped his glass. It shattered on the marble floor. He tried to say something, a plea, an excuse, but I raised my hand. "Don't. You told me not to embarrass you, so I'm not. You did this yourself." I took off my engagement ring, walked to his table, and placed it next to his half-eaten steak. "Goodbye, Damien." I left the ballroom with my head high. Behind me, I heard his boss asking him to step outside for a serious conversation. I didn't look back. Moral reflection: that night, I drove to the pier. I sat on the hood of my car and watched the waves. And for the first time in 3 years, I felt free. I learned something painful. Love isn't about shrinking yourself so someone else can feel tall. It's not about hiding your light because their eyes can't handle the brightness. Damien didn't betray me because I kept a secret. He betrayed me because the moment he saw my worth, he tried to punish me for it. So here's my truth to you. Whoever is listening, never let anyone make you feel like your success is their shame. Wear your stars. Speak your rank. And if someone can't handle the real you, let them walk away. Or better yet, walk away first. I'm Rear Admiral Elena Vasquez, and I don't need a ring to know my value. The sea has always known.